sang the theme to I Dream of Jeannie, and now you're doing it.
I know.
Dun, 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 dun.
Did you get that out now?
All right, we ready to do a show?
Uh-huh.
Let's do a show. Hey, folks, welcome to the podcast. This is This Epic Disaster.
I thought you weren't going to do that anymore.
I'm kind of doing a sort of version of it. You know, I'm not doing the other introductory thing.
The tagline.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not doing the tagline anymore.
Well, we'll do it sometimes. We'll just
Okay.
slide into it.
All right. Well, this was a little less slidey.
I'll do a little radio thing. Hey, people, how are ya?
Well, hello, and thank you for joining us.
Turn the radio voice on.
No.
Oh, well, okay.
What?
Anyway, that's all right.
What's the matter?
I just recorded over our introductory music. But fortunately, we have it saved onto something else.
Nice.
I'm kind of new at this as I go along.
It's been over a year.
Oh, well. Well, how are you, people? How you doing out there? Thanks for joining us on This Epic Disaster. You know, last week was a little bit of a disaster for us. But it was fun still. Mm-hmm. We had this spot, and we still have the spot. The spot
exists.
Be our guest. So the concept is we're just going to go out at random and just set up our equipment somewhere. And then when someone steps up, they can be our guest on the show.
If they want to.
If they want to.
We won't force them.
And last week they didn't want to.
At all.
No,
people didn't even look in our general direction.
I don't blame them. I think we just picked the wrong place for it. But I'm not giving up hope. It was fun. We got to go to a good place, and we had some good food.
And good drinks.
Good drinks.
Really good
Speaking
drinks.
of good drinks, the way we start off our show from now on is with the live beer review.
Yes, that's true. That didn't quite come out right.
Live beer review. Today's live beer review. Today's beer. Now, I should explain live beer review is
you explain, I'll pour.
The part of the show where we drink a beer that we've never had on the show before, and then we drink it throughout the podcast. At the end of the podcast, we'll tell you what we think about it.
This one's pretty.
It is kind of pretty, isn't it?
Yes. I didn't say it's pretty. I said it's pretty.
It is kind of pretty, isn't it?
That's that's a brand of paintbrushes.
I know. That's why I had a hard time saying it like that. Now, I have a much bigger head than you.
Well, let's hope so.
Today, do you want to tell what we're drinking?
What we're drinking? Now we're drinking, huh? It's not purty, but we're drinking it. Okay.
It's a can of Bliss.
Can you read on this can?
Can of Bliss satisfy you, it says. Can of Bliss satisfy you.
It's a Goodnight Imperial Red IPA by Oskar Blues Brewing Company.
Good night, everybody. That's what we're having.
That's it. That's the show. Bye.
That's a good beer because people will be like, what are you drinking? We're like, good night. And they're like, oh, so don't leave yet. I want to tell me what you're drinking.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
No, come on.
No,
tell
come
me
back.
Anyway, pack it in, pack it out. That's what it says. What is that from? That's a Pokey Defarge. Pokey Defarge. Lafarge. That's a Pokey DeFranco song, isn't it? I don't know what I'm saying.
Could you imagine Pokey Lafarge and James Franco? Wait.
That would be the DeFranco family.
It would.
Pokey DeFranco. If you, anyway, I don't know anything about this beer. www.oskarblues.com. We've had a few Oskar Blues on the other show, nothing on this show yet. So it's from Colorado. I know that.
Okay, so it says, if you knew the man behind this tribute, this dry hopped ale needs no introduction. You missed the garbage can again, Rick. Okay, if you didn't, we're sorry. That's all it says.
Oh, okay.
So we're sorry.
We're trying goodnight. I'm going to drink some of mine right now. Here I go.
See, I made it in the garbage can like a good girl.
It's got a very bittery.
It's a hoppy.
breeze.
I don't know why you chose an IPA.
I just picked. I don't know. I don't know anything about beer. I walk in. I go, we've never had that before, and I pick it out. I don't know anything. I don't read it. I don't know anything about them.
I'm really starting to get away from the IPAs because it's just too much these days. It's just too much. Yeah. See, told you.
Interesting.
It says, "Hello, I'm a hop."
See what you think of that.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Hi, Hop. How are you?
There.
I mean, it's not the hoppiest beer I've ever had, but
it's the hoppiest beer.
No, don't.
That's a good beer.
No.
That's a good song.
Okay.
I don't know. I will see if I like it or not.
There's something weird happening in the back of my throat.
I know.
Don't take that the wrong way.
It's not anything to do with me.
No, it's just a beer that does something strange to me.
Okay, we'll talk about it at the end of the show.
When we review it and tell you what we think about it.
Well, now you had a rough week, I understand. You had an interesting week. Rough week, some trepidation was in there.
Oh, my God.
New things going on in your life. Let's talk about you for a while.
Let's talk about me.
All right, that's enough. Now let's go back to me.
That's right. Okay, so I got a couple things going on this week.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Last weekend, I went to a friend's house and sat and drank bourbon on their porch for a while.
That sounds like fun.
It's always fun. I love them. I love their porch. I love their bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good start to the week, right? You think?
Yeah,
or the end to last week, depending on how you look at it.
Okay.
So then this week started out all right.
Yeah.
Sort of. I did have to go on Wednesday. I had to go to a couple of meetings, like client-facing meetings where I had to go talk to people. No.
Those are awesome.
No.
I love those.
You don't.
That's a great way to start the week.
It's not. And it was the middle of the week. They kind of sucked, actually. I mean, they went well, but it's very nerve-wracking. And 2 in one day was just too much.
Okay.
So Thursday, middle of the night, morning, I wake up, and it is evident to me that I am getting one of my migraines.
Oh, no.
So I take some medication immediately. I go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up at about 4 a.m., and it's instant.
Is this one of those vertigo migraines?
Yeah, it's called a vestibular migraine.
Yeah.
And what it does is it affects my vestibular nerve, which makes me dizzy and...
You get bed spins and migraines.
Spins and migraines.
That was my favorite country song.
Bed spins and migraines?
Yeah. Ronnie McDowell.
Okay.
That was a great song.
Yeah, sounds nice. Actually, I lived that song on Thursday. It was not fun. And what's surprising is that it was it was the most severe migraine I've ever had.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Like ever. But I will also thanks. But I will also tell you that it was over like fairly quickly.
That's awesome. That's good.
Like in the evening, I was already starting to feel better. And normally it's a day and a half later.
Yeah, I mean, you when I contacted you during the day, you sounded like death. You were just like,
just kill me now.
Yeah.
Just kill me.
And then, so like later, a few hours later, I'm thinking you're going to be even worse. And you were like, nope, it's gone. It's all done.
I'm fine.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's totally fine. Well, not totally fine. But,
Much
the medication helped.
You're doing a show now, though.
Doing a show now. Hi. Hey.
I don't think illness has ever prevented us from doing a good show here. We're pretty much ill half the time we do the show.
Mentally, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not, we can't get away from that. So another thing I did, I was feeling so much better after my migraine that I finally got up enough gumption.
What?
Gumption to ask someone out.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's someone I've known for a little while, and I decided to ask them out.
So in the midst of your migraine-y vestibular bed spins, you decided,
what does that
I need another person in my life.
Yeah.
I need to share this with someone else.
Because I don't want all this pain on myself.
Someone needs to go get the medication for me.
Someone needs
I don't
to
have
take
to get out
care
of
of
bed.
me. No, that wasn't it at all. It's something I had been thinking about doing, and I had even posted about it to Facebook. And I was like, I need some, advice here. I want to hear the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then you tried to talk me out of it.
Threw my 10 cents in.
You totally tried to talk me out of it.
I gave you 10 cents, not 2. No, my thing was, you remember at the very like one of the first couple episodes when I told you that story about the girl in piano class.
Right.
It's like the moment I told her how I felt, it was over. Never
spoke to you again.
Nope. It was, and then the rest of the semester in class was very, very awkward.
Here's the difference, though.
You would have to go to work every day and see this person.
I didn't say anything about work.
Well, I don't know if it's at work, but I'm just saying you saw this person somewhere. So you're going to have to see this person all the time now. Right?
Yeah.
So wherever this person is, you're going to have to encounter this person.
Yes.
All right, that's what I'm saying. And then what if it goes wrong? What if it just sucks? What if he finds you so repulsive?
I didn't even say it was a he.
What if she
I didn't say it was a she either.
What if the goat finds you so repulsive that it's, you can't even look at them. You get in the elevator and then you're like, you have to look down and you can't even say like, it's a nice day. It's just done. It's awkward for the rest of your life. That relationship is ruined.
Do I strike you as that kind of a
Why
person?
is it ruined? Just because you shared your feelings. See, that's the problem with sharing your feelings. And
Here's
that's what
difference.
I say never share your feelings. Never. It's it's a trap. It'll
really
ruin
not.
the rest of your life.
No, I'm sorry. Excuse me, I have to do this. But
wait. What are you doing?
I'm taking my bra off.
I'm married.
I'm not asking you to look.
What the hell is going on? That's a first for the podcast. I'm glad we're not videotaping this one. Holy crap.
Oh, shit, that's right.
I mean, it's hot up here, but
I'm
not taking off my clothes. What is going on? This is sexual harassment.
Sometimes you just got to let him go, you know?
Man.
It's just too much.
I can't even believe you did that on the podcast. All right, what's your deal? What's going on?
So what I was going to tell you is that it's different in this case because I don't plan on sending this person a note that says, I love you.
No, but not written down, but it's implied.
No, it's not. It's not
Once
at all
you share
implied.
your feelings, it's implied.
No.
That's what I think.
No. It's just a drink.
All right, you're going to drink with this person.
More than likely.
And then, like, right in the middle of the date, you're going to take your bra off. And the person's going to be like, what is going on? What kind of brunch is this?
Oh, it's the kind that's good.
They might
sorry.
like it.
This
I don't know.
feels really good right now.
They might be all right with it. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so when is this date? We won't even call it a date. When is this meeting taking place?
Disappointment.
This appointment
will occur on Sunday.
This Sunday. So like next week, you could tell us about it.
When this podcast comes out.
Can you send us a videotape of
No,
it while
I cannot.
you're on the date?
No, I will not.
Maybe like, could you live tweet the date? Could you live blog the date? Can you live podcast the date?
Excuse me while I set up my recording equipment. I just have this mixer here, and I've got these.
Yeah, see, that's my fear.
Can you talk into the mic, please? Please talk into
That's
the mic.
my fear is like you're going to meet somebody and everything's going to be great, you know, and then you're going to hit it off. And then, of course, I'll never see you for like 6 weeks. That always happens in a relationship.
That's not
going to
happen.
It's like, I won't see. You'll like, you know, because people do that in the first part of the relationship, you never see them again. And then you'll finally come out and see your shadow and you'll like, okay. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, Ronnie says he doesn't want me doing the podcast anymore.
Ronnie? Who is Ronnie?
His name might be Ronnie.
It's not.
That's an Atlanta name, isn't it? Ronnie? Ronnie says I can't do the podcast anymore, but he doesn't like me spending so much time with my ex.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's
Rick.
what Ronnie says.
No. Listen, listen to me. I'm gonna
happen.
I'm gonna get real here. Just listen to me. You are my best friend. You're the best friend I've got.
Just don't take your bra off in front of me again, please.
You didn't see a thing. Shut up. I have come over here and walked around your house naked.
Not while I've seen it.
No,
not while I've been here.
It. You were here. You just didn't see it. But listen, you're my best friend. We have a commitment to do a podcast.
Until Ronnie
Fuck off.
comes in to the picture.
Not to mention the fact that I just enjoy spending time with you. So if, quote unquote, Ronnie decides that he doesn't want me spending time with you, then Ronnie can fuck off.
It could be Veronica. I'm Ronnie. I don't know who Ronnie is. It could be Goat. I know a few goats named Ronnie.
Ronnie identifies as mayonnaise.
Yep. Ew.
Ew.
That's nasty.
That's nasty.
All right. Well, good luck.
You know, I'll tell you all about it.
Out.
I'll tell you all about it next week. Or not.
Maybe, should I give you some tips? Do you need some tips on dating?
I have tips. Oh, tips?
Tips on dating?
Sure.
I don't have any.
Clearly.
I never was that good at it.
But you dated before you and I dated.
Yes.
You and I didn't really date. You and I lived together.
We dated on the phone.
We courted on the phone.
We dated on the phone. We had dates, regular phone dates.
Right.
And then we decided to move in together based on those dates.
That's correct.
And then we moved in. And the first time I ever saw you, I was on like the 9th floor of a hotel. in Chicago.
Correct.
And I looked down and you waved up at me. And that's the first time I ever saw you in person. Mm-hmm. And you were like really, really small.
Well, I was 9 floors down.
Wouldn't it be funny if you came up and you were actually that small?
No.
I didn't tell you I was 2 inches.
I'm sorry.
It's like, well, I didn't tell you I was 2 inches either.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
disappointing.
That's the worst date in the history of dates.
I'd be like,
right
okay,
there.
Can I get my check, please? No, I would not do that.
Well, it's a round trip ticket, so.
Right? Yeah, just in case.
All right. Well, good luck to you. I think it's going to be good. Brunch is a good time to do a date, I think.
I think so.
Not a lot of pressure.
Nope. No pressure.
You're up. It's a Sunday. It's kind of, laid back.
Sure.
And breakfast food is always good. Brunchy, breakfasty food is
That's
always
what I had
good.
for lunch today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that'd be good. You'll have to fill us in next week.
I will. Mm-hmm. I'll let you know all about it, or I won't.
Okay, cool.
Those are the options.
So let's talk about me now.
Did you just fart?
No.
Okay.
God, this podcast is like reaching to new depths. Okay, if you know anything about me, which I don't know that you do, but if you know anything about me, you know.
I know nothing.
People know. I'm kind of a big, big, big fan of the Monkees.
Hey, we're the... can I do that?
You can sort of do that, yeah.
I sort of do that. Okay.
And I don't necessarily mean the music. Even though the music is cool, I don't think I've ever been a big fan of Monkees music.
But you like the show.
Love the show.
Right.
One of the best shows ever done.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's funny.
Yes.
I just love the editing. I like the corny jokes. I like just everything about it. It's always been one of my favorites. And I'm also a big fan of Gilligan's Island. And so there's actually, if you watch the Monkees, you will see people who either ended up on Gilligan's Island or went from Gilligan's Island to the Monkees, like bit players or something.
Well, isn't it true that all those shows like the Monkees, Gilligan's Island, I don't know, I Dream of Jeannie, whatever, all the little extras or character actors, they kind of did the rounds of all the shows.
Well,
that
time, happens now, now.
You're right.
Sure.
It does.
I think back then, though, a lot of people were studio players. They worked for certain studios.
Right.
I don't know that goes on, but maybe it does. But you would just see him, and I would be like, oh, that was the guy from that show. I remember him. And character actors like, every once in a while, like I will hear, I want to say it's Rudolph.
The red nose.
I don't know. No. It's the voice of Santa Claus from Frosty the Snowman. Oh, and that voice...
He was such an asshole in that movie.
I've heard that voice so many times, like in the 60s. I know that guy was on shows. But you see these people on Bewitched, and they just did the rounds. They were actors, and they had to acting. Right. Anyway, big fan of the Monkees. Love that show.
Okay.
I always wanted to do a reboot of that show.
And why are we talking about the Monkees?
Everybody's done it. Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, get on it then. Get to the point. What's wrong
Michael
with you?
Nesmith and Mickey Dolenz are touring this summer together.
No, they are not.
They're calling it the Mickey and the Mike Show. Michael and Mickey, or Mickey and Mike, or something like that.
Okay.
They're not going to go into the Monkees because Peter Tork, the other live monkey, is not going to tour with them. He's doing some other things. And Davy Jones is dead. But so they're touring together, the Mickey and Mike Show. They're going to do all Monkees songs.
Sure.
And I guess probably talk a little bit about the Monkees and stuff too.
Okay. Well, that sounds like fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to see it. But when I read the story and I just thought, oh, cool. And then I just thought, oh, I'm going to go see. I called up some YouTube videos or something. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. And I started watching it, and there was a Monkees or whatever performance with Peter Tork and Mickey Dolenz. They were playing, I think it was Last Train to Clarksville.
Okay.
And while they were playing it, in the background, there was a video that was playing of the actual show, The Monkees. And I started thinking, these guys now are in their 70s.
Yes.
Can you imagine having a job where your entire job is based on something you did when you were 20?
No.
These guys are like 70s now, and people remember them from when they were in their 20s. And so they're up there in their 70s bodies playing these songs, while behind them there's people
holding
young
them
enough
up
to be their grandkids being doing shtick from a TV show.
Wow.
And that's been their whole life. Their whole life has been trying, like, I think the Monkees went on 4 seasons. So their whole life has been kind kind of not recreating, but keeping people in touch with those 4 seasons of when they were in their 20s.
That's true.
Isn't that weird?
But you did ask me specifically, you said, could you imagine yourself doing now what you were doing in your early 20s?
Making a living off of it.
I would love to make a living off what I was doing in my early 20s.
Well, it's like I have a friend who's an actress.
Mm-hmm.
And we're friends on Facebook. And she's done a couple of kind of big-time movies. Right. Now, either by choice or just by career, I don't know. Her career is a little... You don't see her as much on TV shows or movies.
Sure.
But so many of these people, and it's usually guys, write notes to her, and they're like, "Oh, wow, I loved you," and they'll describe the movies. And it's when she was in her 20s, and now she's 50.
Yeah.
And so everything people remember about her are back when she was... Because I think about, when I was in my 20s, I was in college. I would never want to be remembered for the rest of my life for anything I did in my 20s.
I was doing photography.
Yeah.
I was modeling. Mm-hmm. And I was drinking. So if I could be known for those 3 things, I'd be all right with that.
But I think that's what happens when you're in the entertainment business anyways. You because you're immortalized. I mean, Clark Gable lives today because you just put a movie in and you can watch him. But he's been dead for years.
Right.
It never stops. So anybody who died, David Bowie, just put in a record.
And there he is.
David's alive. You're still digging. David's been dead now for 2 years. And it will be like that forever. Mm-hmm. So when you're you're frozen in time a little bit. And so when people think of the Monkees, so I was watching the 70-year-old Monkees sing the song, and Mickey Dolenz is typical 70s. Just he's grandfather looking. You know?
Well, he's 70.
Kind of puffy face.
Sure.
But every time it's like, I don't know. I have this thing happen with my parents. When I see my parents in their 70s or 80s, they look like they're in their 70s, 80s, but there's a little translation that happens from the time I see them to the time in my head, and they instantly become like early 30s. So it's just a weird little thing when I see them as a 70-year-old, but my mind reads them as a 30-year-old because that's how I know them.
Do you know, I'll be honest with you, you just brought something to my attention. I don't think my grandmother ever aged. Like, ever.
Yeah, I think my grandmother was like that. I just always remember her as the same age.
I always remember my grandmother as the same age, too, and she was old.
But I always remember my mother as, like, late 20s or early 30s, and now she's pushing 80.
I try not to.
But I still remember her at that age, even though she doesn't look like it. She looks like an 80-year-old, but there's a little weird translation. And so the same thing, I'm watching Mickey Dolenz, and he looks like Grandpa, but in my eyes, it's like, that's still Mickey. He still looks like 20-year-old guy.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
But I don't know. I'm sure there are times when that kind of bugs them, that they think no one accepts me for what I've done the past 50 years.
Well, what have they done for the past 50 years?
Pretend they just kept cashing in on what they did the first 20.
What else is there to remember them for?
I think they've probably had albums and things that have come out, but they just never reached that kind of height. People want to only remember them in the Monkees.
I mean, they just lived off of what they did in the Monkees.
Who's had that kind of career? Because trying to think whose career's been revived. Possibly Meatloaf. Because, he had a career as a singer, and he was, like, really big. And then he disappeared for a little while. And then he started coming back in the movies. And I think a lot of people remember him from the movies or the Fight Club or whatever.
Sure.
And I think there are people who know him only as Meatloaf from the movies and don't know anything about his singing career, really.
They have to at this point. Because he did kind of come back again, yes, in the movies. But he had additional albums as well.
Sure.
And you can't say Meatloaf without talking about his music.
No. I read an interesting story. I think Rolling Stone did one. Maybe it's in the new Rolling Stone, at least in the last couple of weeks, which is a very interesting little story about Meatloaf. Okay. If you like Meatloaf, if you're into the loaf, give it a read. He can't do much these days. He's got chronic back pain.
Oh, no.
So he can't move around. He can't really perform. Because I remember reading a few years ago a story about him just collapsing on stage. He just collapsed. They had to take him off. And he's just got chronic pain.
That's crazy.
But they say he's like infamously difficult. He's like one of the most difficult. And he will basically say, yes, that's true. I am.
Like difficult how? Explain.
He's just difficult to be around. He throws tantrums.
He's a child.
Just a diva.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's by his own admittance.
Who is it that doesn't allow a certain color M&Ms?
Me. I hate that. No,
in
that
their
was the
dressing room.
That was the thing with Van Halen back during the David Lee Roth
No
days.
green M&Ms.
I think it was brown M&Ms, which is weird because there used to be two colors of brown M&Ms. There was a light, there was a tan, and a brown. So they had to throw a lot of M&Ms away.
I bet. They probably didn't throw them out.
I read the reason why they did that. I can't remember, but it was something like David Lee Roth did it just to kind of, because he said that he felt like so many people didn't read the writer that they would send.
Right.
And but a lot of people feel that kind of stuff is very divish, but you have to realize these people are on the road. I've seen some writers, like one of my exes used to work for a company that would book big shows, and so they would get the writer, and she would bring these writers home and show them to me. Mm-hmm. It's amazing the stuff that they would demand.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very specific. You have to have a vegetarian plate, and on the plate you have to have this, and it's because if you did it, well, they would show up and there'd be like a little bag of McDonald's there, and they'd be just like, "There's your dinner."
Right.
And you can't have that every single night. So you have to, I mean, this is their life every night on the road.
This is what they do.
They have to take care of themselves. So they have to say, this is what I want. This is how I want it. But I think sometimes people stretch it a little too far.
Well, yeah. I mean, I helped put on a neighborhood party fundraiser for a neighborhood a couple years back. And the writer for the musical guest that we had, and the musical guest that we had, if I'm not mistaken, is local here to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're on the road.
Right.
But their writer included specific things. They needed 8 meals from a specific Italian restaurant, 2 of which had to be vegetarian. Which is fine. Yeah. That's totally fine. They also required 11 bananas.
Interesting.
That kind of, I wasn't sure why they would need 11 bananas, but that's what they wanted. They wanted 11 bananas.
I would see that in the writer, just very kind of random things. And you don't know why, but they've got a reason for it a lot of times. Sometimes, they might use it on stage. Like Gallagher, probably half the props he uses, watermelons or whatever, probably are things that are in his writer. He doesn't.
He didn't bring those with. Yeah.
Someone else has to go out and shop,
Right.
So it's probably a lot of that. But I mean, I understand it. They got to take care of themselves. Some of it just seems a little weird, but I feel like if you're on the road, you have a right to demand what you want, really. So
I mean, they're paying you to be there.
Yeah.
They want you there. Mm-hmm. Might as well get out of it what you
can. I've got a question. This is sort of rock and rollish, if I believe, is a question. Why does I don't know why I thought about this today. Why did the skull become the symbol of badassery? Why is it that...
Pirates.
Is it pirate? Well, still, that's my question. What is it about a skull that... It's just like... I don't understand.
The Jolly Roger. Okay, so the Jolly Roger...
I like dead heads with no skin. That's how bad I am.
No, I don't think that's it.
Okay, but that's what it is.
But that's not how it started. It started to instill fear upon people.
Why? It's just bones. It's a head with no. It's just a bone head.
You're a bonehead.
You could have like rib cage. Why didn't that become? It's the same thing. It's just skinless bones. What is it about the head that became badass? Because people get tattoos with that. It's like, look at my badass skull, man. Look at a skull. It's like, what is that?
You can't even pretend to be a badass.
No, but I'm just saying, why is that the badass symbol?
It's just because, it's a face, but it has no eyes, so that's creepy. And we can all...
It's a creep factor? Is that what it is?
I think it is creep factor. But, then it became this whole kind of ride or die kind of thing. But I think it started with the Jolly Roger. It started with to instill fear into people.
Did pirates actually have that flag, or is that part of Hollywood too? Did they just make that up? I don't know. Did pirates really put skull and crossbones on a flag?
I don't know about the skull and crossbones, to be honest with you. I think now that you mention it, I think I remember reading something that they did not, but they did have a specific color of flag that they would fly so that you knew that they were coming and you needed to prepare to be boarded.
Well, just this past week, I think yesterday, I saw a tie with skull and crossbones on it. Little tiny skull and crossbones. It wasn't big, little tiny. So you would think he was a businessman. You're just, he's in there. He's going over the marketing statistics, and you're like, oh, he's got a little skull and crossbones. He must be a badass.
I guess my new employee is a badass.
And it's like, yes, I'm the CEO of the company, but I'm also a little bit of a badass too.
I'm also a tiny little badass.
In this badass way, just a little bit.
Just a little bit of a badass.
Still got my suit on and my shoes.
But it's a badass suit.
And then today, I was doing shopping at Goodwill, as I frequently do.
Yes.
And I saw this over in the, not that I was shopping in the women's section, but as I was leaving, I passed through the women's section, and right there in the front, there's this little kind of lacy sweater. It said Hot Topics on it, but it was a little lacy sweater, small women's lacy sweater with skulls all over it.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, I want to be the badass, but I also want to be cute.
Okay, did you not were you not a part of the whole pink skull and crossbones thing?
That's kind of my point. It's
just
like,
when we
let's
lived
make
together,
death cute.
When we lived together, I had a pair of pajama pants that had pink little skulls and crossbones all over them.
It's my point. The whole point. It's just like, that's not scary. That's not intimidating.
At all.
That's making it cute.
But I'm a girl and I'm badass.
So it's like you can be a badass 8-year-old with skull and crossbones pajama pants.
Absolutely.
And you can be, a gang dude with the tattoo of the skull and crossbones. What does it mean?
Nothing.
It means absolutely nothing.
Nothing. I mean, no, it means nothing. So one of my favorite doggos. She's a black pit bull that was used as a bait dog. She's gorgeous and she's loving and she's very exuberant and happy. And she has a little collar that has pink skulls and crossbones on it.
I don't know.
Because she's a little girl.
I think it's weird.
I think it's weird that people think pink is for girls.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I went through, there was a period where pink, I think a lot of rappers wore pink, kind of really masculinized it.
Masculinized it?
Is that a word?
How about, I don't know. I have to look it up. That kills me.
I thought you were going to say something, but you didn't.
It didn't sound right before it came out of my mouth, which is good because normally things come out of my mouth and then I say that didn't sound right.
Yeah.
So at least in this case, I got it.
I got a question for you.
I got an answer.
I don't know if you do. This is a conundrum.
I have an enigma, so we're like twins.
That might have been the first time in my whole life I used the word conundrum.
No, it's not.
I think it might be. Okay, so I live, you know where I live. I live in a subdivision.
I'm in your house,
and
I hope so.
When you come into the subdivision, I'm the very first house you see. I'm like, you're coming in, boom, right there. Okay, all day long, I do not know why. Cars break down outside our house. Mm-hmm. And I guess the last mileage they can get out of their car, they pull it into the subdivision and they park right out in front, which is right in front of my house.
Right.
And during the summer, all day long, at least once every couple of days, we'll get up.
Oh, God.
Can I borrow your hose?
No, you can't.
My car's out of water.
I don't have a hose.
Or they'll be like, you got any jumper cables?
Nope, don't have jumper cables.
All day long.
All day long.
All day long.
That's ridiculous. It's because of where your home is located.
That's what I'm saying. So where it's located, there's a lot of traffic. And then, not only that, but when, if your car does go out and you come in, it's the first house you see. So I guess we're the first.
Suckers.
Yeah. So, okay. I try to be a nice guy. I think I'm a nice guy.
What?
I try to do the right thing. I like to help my fellow man. I like to help my fellow woman. I like to help my fellow goat. When people are in crisis and they come knocking on my door, the first thing I do is they want to rape me. They're here to rape me. They want me.
They want your butt.
They want my butt. They want to shoot me. They want to raid my house. They want to make me do
sexual
things to them that I would probably only do in prison. That's the thing that I think. I don't think, oh, poor guy needs some water for his car. And so I almost always go, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have that.
Uh-huh. I don't have water.
I don't help them out.
I don't have water.
I don't help them out.
You're rude.
And then they go, oh, okay. And then they leave. And then I feel bad about it.
You should.
All day. But I see these stories all the time where somebody pulls over to help somebody on the side of the road to, give them a lift. The battery's dead. They're going to jump on. And they get shot from the person they were trying to help. I see that all the time.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and you also
how can you blame me?
You also watch the ID channel all the time.
I watch the ID channel all the time. And so I know what happens.
Home invasions.
When people ask for water.
Right.
I know.
Right.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should I probably maybe relax a little bit and give them some help?
Yes.
Or should I just, am I okay with getting my guard up? I mean, we live in Atlanta, which is like the murder capital of the world.
Nah. Whatever.
Not really. It's not at all.
It's not. It's actually Juarez in Mexico. But okay, moving on.
It's not even the murder capital of the South. It's a great place. I love Atlanta.
I love Atlanta.
Never had any problem. My subdivision. The first night I moved here, I heard gunshots, and I've never heard them since. I've been here 2 years.
I hear gunshots almost every night where I live.
But I don't know why. I just think somebody's trying to trick me. Somebody wants in so they just use my cell phone. Like it's just a bunch of youths trying to get my PIN number. Youths. That's what's happening.
Are they trying to get your PIN number?
They want my
Have you just turned into the grouchiest old man I've ever met in my entire life?
They're going to kidnap me and force me to go to my bank.
Oh, God.
And get out all of my money, which is like $6 right now.
Maybe.
And
if you're lucky.
Give it to them. And then they're going to bury me in a shallow grave in the woods.
So they're going to kill you because they're going to be mad that you didn't have more than $6 in your bank,
or something like that. They'll kill me if I had a 6,000.
You can't even take $6 out at an ATM.
No, you can't. But I'm just saying
it costs you half that just to get money.
I just don't know. I just feel like if should I jump? Should I give them jumper cables? Should I try?
Do you have jumper cables?
Yeah.
You lied to them?
I have water. I have a hose. I don't let them use my hose. I have a couple of times. One time, some dude just comes and knocks on my door, and he says, hey, I just used your hose, and we filled it up with water. Didn't even ask until after it was already done.
Because he knew you'd say no.
It's probably the thing to do with me anyway.
Wait, but how many hoses do you have?
I got one in the front, one in the back. You're trying to make this a dirty thing. I understand.
So trying.
You put your bra back on and straighten up. So I just feel bad about it, and it's already started. Like today, 80 freaking degrees in Atlanta.
It's fucking hot.
It's February, and it's 80. I'm sweating. You're taking your clothes off. We're doing. It's horrible.
Yes.
And already.
Wait, which part is horrible? Me taking my clothes off?
Yes. The cars are breaking down already, and people are knocking on the door and wanting to use my hose. And I don't know what to do. I feel like maybe this summer, do I try to work? What should I do? What if I end up getting killed? What if I'm really seriously trying to help somebody and they're
kill you?
Criminals? It's a scam. That's the thing. I always think it's a scam. It doesn't matter where I go. If I'm walking on the road, just walking down the street, downtown Atlanta, somebody's going, can I borrow $5? I always think it's a scam. Like, I'm going to think, okay, and then I start to get the $5, and they jump me and beat the shit out of me. That's what I think all the time.
But that's not true. That is absolutely not true.
No, I know, but that's what I feel like. I always think that.
No, I'm saying it's not true of you. You took a gentleman down the street to the Willie's or whatever and bought him food.
I thought, the whole time I was walking, I thought he wanted my butt. Every time I thought he was trying to get me. I thought he was. But I didn't know he wanted lunch until the very last moment. I thought he wanted me. But I did it anyway.
You think very highly of yourself. If there's a person on the side of the road who has clearly not showered in a while and may or may not have all of their belongings with them, and they ask for food, I'm more than likely assuming that they want food.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they just want to start some crap. They could have broken out of prison. They just want a new identity. They steal my stuff. They bury me. They bury me in a shallow grave, take my stuff, take my car. They got
in the middle of downtown Atlanta.
They're doing the podcast. You don't know. They're sitting here doing the podcast.
And I just show up and do the podcast?
You're taking your bra off going, you look a little different.
And
but
your wife just says, come on in, honey, let's go to bed?
She doesn't know. When her glasses come off, she couldn't tell who I am. She honestly... She would not know. They just break her glasses.
Out my nose. That's not funny.
They just break her glasses, and then she would never know it's not me. No, but seriously, I just feel like I feel bad when I do it, but I just feel like I'm one of those people who's like, I don't want to get involved. Look, I don't want to get there's 50 houses in this subdivision. Just go to any one of them. Not here, please. I don't want to get involved.
Then don't answer the door.
I just happen to be right here.
Then don't answer the door.
I shouldn't answer the door. I mean, but they look so sad and they're knocking on the door.
And you're not helping them. So why is answering the door doing for you? I need to help
them out. Like the people on the side of the road, they have those signs like, please help.
Yes.
You get off the exit. I just feel like I'm going to roll down the window and they're going to punch me in the face.
They don't, because trust me, I have rolled down the window and I have given people cash money many, many, many times.
I don't do it.
In downtown Atlanta.
I help people, but I don't help those people.
Why?
I have a reason why.
Okay.
I used to work in a place where I worked right next to the window, and I could see out the window, and there was a beggar person.
Panhandler?
A panhandler.
Okay.
That's the proper word for beggar person.
I don't know if
that was
PC
right there.
Or not.
And I would watch, and I swear they made more than I did every day. If they put $1 in the person's hand, they made more than what I did. And I guarantee you it was $5 and sometimes $10. And then one day I'm in Walmart and I see the panhandler.
The beggar person.
I see the panhandler in Walmart with the panhandler's children, apparently. Mm-hmm. And they're buying a file cabinet. And I just think, what does a panhandler need with a file cabinet? And not that I'm judging, but I was.
You were totally judging.
I was judging.
You were like shooting judgment lasers.
They might have been putting in all of their
receipts.
Their poor people.
Because you have to
records.
claim that on your taxes.
What?
When you're given money, it's a gift. Yeah,
Is it?
yeah. You have to claim it on your taxes.
Filing tax. What do they put for occupation? Panhandler.
Panhandler.
But I don't know. And the person wore. I'm not going to go into it.
Just don't go into it. Just don't
go into it.
I've done this before.
It was a tiny person. It was a little person, and he wore this like little tiny tuxedo.
Okay, so that's just
very
for
cute.
show.
He looked like he looked like a circus person. So
are you saying he was a dwarf?
No, he's a tiny person. I don't know what the technical word. I don't know what difference thing he had. He was just tiny, and he had a tux and a little top hat. And so you just stand there, and people, and he looked.
So he wasn't homeless.
He looked kind of like a raisin.
What?
In a tuxedo. And people would come by, and he would just stand there, and people would give him money. And I watched it all day long. They would give him money all day long. He made a fortune. He could have afforded a moisturizer, but he didn't.
Okay.
He put it all into filing cabinets.
So I lived in Alaska.
Yes.
For many, many, many years. And the entire time I lived there, and we're talking 20 years, the entire time I lived there was this homeless person that I knew who he was. His name was Floyd. Uh-huh. And you would find him.
Yeah, right.
No, it was. His name was Floyd. He was a little bit slow in the head.
Pretty much everybody named Floyd is.
No, they're not.
I've learned this.
I had a very good friend named Floyd up there that was actually quite
Fast.
helpful. He was
like a racer.
No.
He was in the Olympics. He was an Olympic runner. Floyd, the Olympic runner.
No, this Floyd, my friend Floyd was actually my therapist for a while. But
the slow person?
No, the slow person on the side of the road.
I think you're okay.
No, don't.
Floyd, the slow therapist.
Stop making fun. You're
now
evil.
on ABC.
I think you're all right.
Floyd, the slow therapist. What a great show.
So, anyways, all year long, Floyd would be out on the exit ramps, and he'd be like hopping up and down with his sign. Says something about I need money or whatever, however he put it.
Yeah.
But he smiled constantly. He was always smiling and hopping up and down. Mm-hmm. And probably 5 years after I moved there, and I never gave him anything because I didn't have anything at the time. But about 5 years after I moved there, I was told that his caregivers, because he had in-home caregivers, they made him go out and do that.
Oh.
And then they took the money.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And
that's a scam there.
He just kept doing it for the whole 20 years I was there.
That's
and he
sad
slowed
right
down. There. He slowed down, because 20 years. He didn't hop around as much. He got older, and he just looked sad and confused and just didn't want to be there. And it was very, very sad. And to think that people that are there supposed to be caring for this poor guy were sending him out to go panhandle.
I read the story, and I don't remember where it was. It was in a national publication, but it was about a group of people, and they would live in an abandoned building. Uh-huh. And that was their job, is every day they would choose which exit they were going to go to. Mm-hmm. And they would go and they would stand there and they would get money. They would come back and they would pull their money, and then they would buy whatever they needed to buy. So it was like a little commune.
Right.
And a lot of times they were buying some booze and drugs and stuff, but they also had to buy food and whatever they lived on. And I don't know, ever since I read that, I was just like, I'm so hesitant about giving. Like the dude I took for food, I will take people to buy them food if that's what they need. This guy just seemed like he needed to eat, so I just took him to get food. But I don't know, I'm not comfortable with handing somebody $10.
Do you remember the guy
It's not my business, though. I shouldn't be so uptight about that, should I?
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Trust your gut.
If it's my money, you're going to have to buy what I tell you to buy.
Well,
like my dad. I'm starting to sound like my dad.
2 more
I
stories.
don't know. I mean, why? What do I care if he buys wine? I mean, if he's going to,
Do you remember the guy in Chattanooga on the north side? The really poorly taken care of dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fed him.
I know so many people who did.
Yeah.
Did I read he died? I don't remember.
I don't remember. But yeah, so that's one. And then when I moved to Athens, Tennessee, there was a guy who would sit outside the Ingles there where I did my shopping.
Yeah.
And I made a buttload of money then.
Oh.
Like a buttload of money.
You should have gotten a wallet.
Shut up.
I mean.
So whenever I would go to the grocery store to do my shopping, I'd always get cash, and I would always give him, because he had a little doggy with him too, and of course that just touches me. So I would give him like $25. I would give him groceries. I would buy him a sandwich, and I would give him dog food every time I went to the grocery store, and he was there.
I probably shouldn't say this, but
and I gave him a blanket once.
It always kind of makes me laugh. I found out that my dad did that toward later in his life. He found out it was an easy way to make some money. So he would go stand on the road with his veteran hat on and ask for people to get, and people would hand him money.
You know, your dad also just picked things out at Walmart and walked out the door.
He did whatever he wanted to do. But I just thought, to me, that's just kind of funny. It's just like my dad was a smart guy. My dad...
he was a school teacher.
My dad was a school teacher. But my dad was not against capitalizing on any opportunity he could possibly find.
This is true.
And I just think it's funny that at one point he was like, well, hell, I could just stand right here and ask for it and they'll give me money.
I'm old. I'm a vet.
Why not? He didn't do it. I mean, he didn't make a career of it, but there were like 2 or 3 times somebody was like, I saw your dad out there asking for money. And I'm like, what? My dad won $1 million in the lottery one time. So, I mean.
And how long did that last him?
I don't know. I mean, he was.
You keep pounding on the table. Stop doing that.
I don't think people can hear it. But anyway, but yeah, my dad was kind of interesting person.
Your dad.
But I just think, I don't know. You don't know what these people's stories are. And when people are coming here, how do I know they're not sitting in a car and they're just like, all right, I'm going to go up here. We need a new identity. So I'm going to kill the first person who answers the door. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to bury them. I'm going to take their wallet, and that's going to be my new identity.
It's not likely.
They
how many
water?
6'5", long-haired, blue-eyed, lanky-ass Scotsmen do you know?
Lots. So many. We're in Atlanta, people.
But, okay, so even though we watch the ID channel, okay, all the time, we know that a lot of those stories are repeated. There's a reason for that. It's because, yes, serial killers can be quite prolific. They can kill, one serial killer can kill 100 people.
No, it's because they're the good murders.
Right? But here's the thing, is that's just 100 people. There are billions of people in this country.
I don't know. I've read too many stories. I'm too afraid.
What's the odds of you being killed by a serial killer?
I don't know.
It's not high.
I don't know. People are smart.
The odds are definitely in your favor.
Murderers are smart. I mean, they might go to jail. I always feel like that's like the worst murder. You know, you plan this out for so long, and then you it's down to the wire. You just got it perfect. You go kill a person, and then you left a cigarette butt down, and then you're in jail. It's
stupid ass.
The rest of your life, you're like, damn cigarette butt.
What are you smoking for?
What? Why? I almost had it.
You were killing somebody.
I had to have the Camel at the last minute.
Did you have to have a cigarette while you were killing that person?
I don't know. I always feel bad, not bad, but I just think that for the rest of their life, they're probably like beating themselves up about that.
Here's my question in the whole cigarette butt at the murder scene thing. Let's say that there's a murder scene.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's say that I had walked past there
Talking
earlier
about
that
death
day.
again.
Shut up. Let's say that I had walked past there earlier that day, and that I had a cigarette butt that I had smoked and put out, and it was stuck on the bottom of my shoe.
Sure.
And when I walked past there, it left the bottom of my shoe.
Right.
Does that mean that they're going to find that cigarette butt and they're going to think I was there?
No, but they would test it. And then they would be like, oh, this cigarette butt says it's Cheri's cigarette butt. We need to come bring Cheri in. So they'll call you in. They'll ask you, they'll be like, why are you there? And like, oh, I just passed by. And I'm like, okay. And then they eliminate you.
They wouldn't just say, okay.
Well, I mean, I'm obviously I'm not going through the whole entire story, but I'm just saying.
I mean, what if I couldn't say where I was?
That you would be a suspect. But
what if I couldn't say why I was walking past there?
There are a lot of people who are in jail because the evidence was wrong. I mean, really.
That's true.
So you got to be careful where you throw your butts. I'm serious.
I don't smoke anymore.
Just put them in a pop can, Coke can, whatever.
Right.
And then throw them in the garbage.
How
don't throw them on the ground.
Coke can. Why's it got to be Coke?
I said pop first. So
but
I'm covering all regions.
You didn't cover the West Coast because you didn't say soda.
Yeah, you got to say soda.
You got to say soda.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm getting ready for the summer. I just don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should be. I need to be more helpful. I know I do. I don't like being approached randomly by strangers. I don't.
Nobody does.
But the thing is, if I was in trouble, I would have to go knock on the door. I don't know if I would do it, though. I wouldn't have the guts to do it.
So here's something weird. In the grocery store, especially when we lived in Chattanooga, I was very, very unlikely to give the person that walks up to you as soon as you get out of your car cash.
Yeah.
That person, very unlikely. I got to catch a bus. I need $1. No, you don't need $1. Walk. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Now, but when I see someone on the side of the road at an exit ramp, and they are clearly, like I said, have all their belongings with them, or most of them, and especially if they have like a crutch or something with them, I will see if I have cash in the car, and I will give it to them. I have, in the past, on my way home, I stopped to get something to eat, and I've pulled up at that stoplight and thought, I got other stuff at home I can eat, and I've given them my food.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
If I had $100 in my pocket and I saw somebody that I was convinced was in just dire straits, I would give them $100.
Sure.
I don't care about that.
Right.
It's just, I don't like being played, and sometimes, so there's an evolution of begging techniques. Well, somebody should do this in a book. It's like used to, it'd be like, hey, can I borrow $10 or whatever. And then they had to have the stories. And so the stories, almost every time you stop somewhere to fill up on gas, there's someone making the rounds. They're going car to car, and they're like, hey, could you help me out? I really need some gas, and my car stopped, and my wallet, I lost my wallet. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
All I need is to fill up would you mind putting the card in here and just filling it up? I feel like maybe they put like a card reader in there. So you stick your card in there to fill it up, and then they got your information.
I would never do that.
Again, I'm paranoid. But anyway, so now what I'm saying, and I've got this more than once, when I'm like walking around in a supermarket or something, someone would come up and go, excuse me, could you help me out? I got my wife and kids are outside in the car. We really need a place to stay tonight. We want to go to the hotel. I mean, I know this sounds weird, but if you want to follow us to the hotel,
in the grocery store,
they'll
walk up to you in a grocery store and say, "I need money for a hotel."
The whole story, yes, that story, and it's more than once this has happened to me. The same story, exact same story, different people. It's like you could come to I don't mind. You could come to the hotel and you could pay it while you're there. And I don't know if they have something worked up with the hotel where they get a rebate or something. I don't know, but I'm going to follow you to a hotel. Sure. And whip out my credit card.
Yeah, because I'm a sucker.
But I see that, and it's like, I don't know when to say yes and when to say no.
Okay, that's a definite say no.
I always say no.
In my opinion. But again,
excuse me, can I borrow your wife? My wife is really sick. I just need your wife right now.
I just need to have sex. Can I just borrow your wife?
I don't know. There's so many scams. There's so many things. I just don't know what's real. When someone's really, really in distress. I feel like sometimes I could feel that. If somebody's really in distress, and then I try to help them. But
you do. You kind of have to rely on your empathy bone. Do you have an empathy bone?
Since you took off your bra, I do, baby.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah.
Ew.
But I put myself
that was not... What the fuck is wrong with you?
Look, could I just borrow your bone for a second? I left my bone in the hotel.
I just need a bone.
So, I don't know. I just feel like, what if I was in that situation? I mean, and I really needed help. Because some of these people, they really, really do need help. I don't know who those people are. I don't know. Scams are horrible. For people who really want to help people, it's not fun. You got to kind of figure out who it is, Because you can make a sign that says anything, and at the end it's like, God bless, and just stand out and hold it, and somebody's going to give you money.
If you mention God, I won't give you cash.
I think we should try that. No. I would say we should try that experiment. We should actually, because I could look like a bum. And I should stand outside with something. And then at the end of the day, we should count it up to see how much money we make.
Wait,
should we do that for an episode?
I can't look like a bum.
I'll do it. You film it. You stand out of the side and film it.
Yeah, let's both get arrested.
How many people do you think do that and get beat up for their cash? I bet that happens a lot, too.
A lot.
Yeah, because they make a lot of money. They have to.
Yeah. Do you know what sucks about being homeless? I mean, among
so glad
the
I didn't
things.
say that out loud. What?
Oh, you just made yourself laugh in your head?
I'm not going to say it. Go ahead. What's that?
What sucks about being homeless? That face. I gotta know.
What sucks about being homeless?
You have to sleep during the day.
What? No, you beg during the day.
No, it's not safe to sleep at night.
Well, yeah, if you're homeless, I guess that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But you could be homeless and be in cars. I have seen a lot of homeless here, and
there are 7,000 homeless people in Atlanta. I'm not trying to be depressing.
There's a dude as you're going down Memorial.
Right. Which part?
If you're from Atlanta, you know what I'm talking about.
Which part?
It's right before you get to the Adventist bookstore.
I don't fucking know where that is.
I'm just saying, I don't know how to tell you. It's just Memorial.
All right.
You're going in toward town.
So this end.
And there's a dude on the sidewalk, and he has his tent set up. He's got everything. I mean, it's like his house. It's not just a tent. I mean,
it's
everything.
A permanent fixture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during the day, he'll sit there, and I can't tell because I drive past it a lot, but he holds up something that looks like artwork. I really want to buy something from him.
You should.
I'm going to go buy like artwork, and I'm going to pay like $50 for it.
Yeah.
But it looks like Jackson Pollock. It's like scribbles. And a lot of times,
but he's trying. He's got wares to sell.
A lot of times he's talking to the cars that pass and kind of like in rage or whatever. But and so
in a rage,
it looks pretty ragey. So I don't know, but I feel like I want to buy one of his art pieces. But yeah, it's been there for, no one goes and moves it. Cops don't move it. They're just like, all right, just live on the sidewalk. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so you're gonna walk up to a man living on a sidewalk
and here's $50.
Raging at cars.
Give him $50.
You're going to give him $50 and not at all concerned that he might whip out a knife and kill you there.
Well, I thought I would take you with me.
I can't run as fast as you.
I think during the day, because it's kind of close to a bus stop, so a lot of people are there. So I really think I could get something. I don't know. I actually felt like interviewing him. Wouldn't he be a great interview? Sit down and talk to him. That would be kind of crazy.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either, but that would be kind of but an interesting personality. And I just feel like, I mean, I've been to places. We went to Shakespeare Tavern,
right?
And as I'm walking there, there's like a place, one little area where there's like 6 little tents set up. It's like a little village. And I know there's places that have actual, it's like almost communities of homeless people.
Yes, absolutely.
I've seen them. I haven't seen them here, and I think they exist here. But I've definitely seen them in movies, like in New York or whatever, where it just like goes on and on and on.
We had a tent city in Anchorage.
Sad.
It is sad. Tent city was basically people that were homeless, and it was in a park, and everybody just kind of knew it was there, and nobody really made them go anywhere. They just let them have the space. It was not really a used park anyways, so what's the harm? But then, of course, the police decided to get all uppity and kicked them all out. And the thing about being homeless in Alaska, especially in a city like Anchorage, if you happen to be on the side of the road and asleep and it's wintertime, A, you could freeze. B, a grader could come by and just kill your ass. Why did I say it like that?
I don't know.
Either. But just basically grate you to death.
Yeah.
Okay, and that would be painful and horrible.
Unless you're cheese, and that's your goal in life.
To be grated?
Yeah.
Or is it shredded?
Oh.
Should we have this conversation?
I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So so if they had just been able to stay in Tent City, they probably would have just been fine.
Yeah, leave them alone.
Yeah. They're not hurting anybody.
Free rent.
Right?
We should wrap up the podcast, but I would say there is a great documentary, and I can't think of the name of it. It just popped in my head.
Well, that's not going to help us then.
It's about people, and I think the documentary was made either in the 70s or 80s. It's about people that actually lived underground in the sewer system in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And they lived there. They had... I'm just creeped out thinking about it. They had apartments, and they went down there and they interviewed the people. They got it. They went in their houses. They showed them. It's creepy. Anyway, I think it might be on Netflix.
Well, it's not like they can come up through the toilet and get you.
But they just lived there, and they would watch the subways go by. And I guess it wasn't the sewers. The subways don't go in the sewers, but it must have been like underground subway tunnels or something. But I mean, I'm just glad I'm not homeless yet.
Not yet.
I'm an artist, and I'm approaching old age, and that's when you go homeless.
Well, that's when you go homeless.
Yes.
It's like going senile,
you lose it
but
all.
You go homeless. So, okay, what happened is you got married.
That saved my life.
I have no
married
doubt.
A normal person.
I have no doubt.
I hope who keeps me for the rest of my life.
Because
when I'm 80, I don't have anything to offer really. I don't have any. It's not a good trade.
No.
It's like here you got an old senile man doing
and you would
nothing.
Think, you would think that with
he has
your
no
great
job.
sense of humor, she would marry you just for that. But she can't laugh at you. She will die of an asthma attack.
That's right. But okay, well, we're not making fun of homeless people at all. In fact, I just don't know. My problem is I just need to figure out what is legitimate and what is not, because I don't want to be scammed, but I do want to help people because I love helping people.
I have a hard time with people coming up to my door.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say don't answer the door.
That's probably the best thing is don't answer the door. But if they're really in distress.
If someone shows up on my front step and they're bleeding to death, screaming for their life, saying, he's right behind me, I'm probably not going to answer the door.
Slide a Band-Aid under the door.
Maybe.
Here you go. There's some back
No,
pain.
my weatherization wouldn't let a Band-Aid go under the door.
Okay, well.
Can't help you.
All right. Well, if you have suggestions out there on what we should do, just send it to thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. Sorry.
That's okay.
I thought it was fine.
It was loud.
Just send it to thisepicdisaster@gmail.com because we would like to hear your stories. This has been a great week for This Epic Disaster. We had a lot more people join up on our website. We had some pretty good downloads this week.
Yeah.
We had some comments. Oh, crap. I meant to read the comments. Well, we'll read them next week.
Okay.
I forgot to copy them down and read them.
Are you drunk?
No, but I feel good.
No?
I'm not drunk and I'm not buzzed, but the gate is down. That prevents things from coming out. But anyway, yeah, and then check us out on Facebook. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
All the things.
And here's what we'd like for you to do. If you download the podcast, well, first of all, if you're listening to this podcast, and if you're listening to it on our website, or if you're listening to it anywhere else, please subscribe. Go subscribe. That helps us out. And then if you subscribe, wherever you subscribe, if you're subscribing on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever, please leave us a rating. You know why?
Why?
Once you leave ratings...
Yeah.
They will put us out there. I mean, like iTunes will put us as like a featured podcast.
And why should our listeners care if we're out there if they've already found us?
Well, you just help us out.
Just because we need you.
We don't get paid for this. That's our pay. And it just helps other people find us. It helps us get a bigger audience, and it helps us to be able to do this on a regular basis. And we like you. And please also send us email. Let us know what you think about the show.
You can reach us at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can also send us a message on Facebook at facebook.com.
We love all that.
thisepicdisaster.
Yep. So do that this week if you would, please, people. We have a few things online. We've got a great little movie scenes with Cheri.
Yes.
Little thing that we put up, a little movie thing. It's on our website.
Didn't we find some more footage too?
We have tons. We've got tons. We're going to be sharing more of it later as we go along. But anyway, you can share that with your friends. Well, that's been shared a lot this week.
Nice.
We do have a new YouTube channel. I should mention that.
Okay.
So, because what we're going to be doing, we didn't do it on this show, and that's a damn good thing. We're going to be videotaping a lot of the
my boobs
episodes
out of this.
And we'll promise, I don't know if we'll get more ratings if you take your bra off on the show.
You can't see any. I have my shirt on still. People I have my shirt on.
like to see stuff. So maybe we'll get more rating. I'll tell you what, next time we do the show, Cheri will expose her boobs for all people to see.
No, she will not, actually.
No, she won't do that. But anyway, we're probably doing, maybe the next show will be video. So we're going to be doing some video every once in a while. Video, we'll put them on YouTube. and you can share those with your friends. You can choose what you want to watch the video or listen to the audio. We don't care.
Right.
Just subscribe to the channel, please, and be our friends. Send us some suggestions.
We're lonely.
Yeah, because we like that. Anyway, we should talk about this beer really quick, and then we'll shut down the show.
Okay, so the beer's all right.
Good night. That's
exactly.
Good night.
That's how I feel about it.
Here's the weird thing.
What?
I kind of like it.
There's something really wrong with you right now. You would never like this beer.
This is the total beer that I hate. Everything about this beer that I hate. And maybe it's because I feel a little good right now.
I think you like it because it's not as hoppy as some IPAs, but it has the same flavor notes of the fruit, which you say you don't like.
I don't like the fruit. It's a little grapefruity. But here's the weird thing is when I first drink it, I think, oh, it's going to be bitter, and then it never goes bitter. It's just like it's got an immediate bitter taste, and then it kind of goes away. And then the flavor, I don't know. How can I know why I like something? I just kind of like it.
That's what we're doing here.
I know. We're doing it, but we don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just going to say I kind of like it.
I'm going to have another one to make a good choice. But right now, I mean, it's almost gone. I've drank the whole thing. It hasn't been painful. I'm going to give it like a 2.5.
I'm giving it a 3.
What?
Why have I give this piece of crap beer a 3?
Don't call it a piece of crap if you're giving it a 3.
No, I like it fine. That's the weird thing is I like it. So of all the bad beers I've had, I really like this bad. It's not a bad beer at all. It's just a flavor that I generally don't like. But that's the great thing about doing the live beer reviews is sometimes something comes across your path you think you won't like and you kind of like it, and I kind of like this. I hope my taste is not changing. I don't want to be developing. I don't want to be evolving this late in life.
It's too late.
I like staying with the way that I've always been.
Way too late.
I don't want to like new things, but
No.
this is a new thing, and I kind of like it. It's a little citrusy, a little grapefruity.
Taste it with this.
No.
Taste it with
What
this.
is that, scotch?
Yeah.
You have scotch up here you're drinking with your beer. No wonder you like your beer. Or don't like it, whatever.
It's the scotch.
That's good scotch. So I'm giving it my 3. You're giving it a 2.5?
Correct.
So that's not so bad.
No.
All right.
Really
Good Night Beer by Oskar Blues Brewery. Is that a local? No, it's Colorado.
Colorado. It's Colorado.
Check it out. You might like it. Check out the podcast. You might like it. If you're in town anytime soon, please be on the lookout. We might be in a place asking you to be our guest because that's going to be coming up soon.
And I promise I won't let Rick drink that much.
I don't drink much.
All right. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
We will talk to you next week, people. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.